Hello, this is Inside News for January 3rd with Dale Matthews and Mike Jones. How's the year going for you so far, Mike?
It's pretty good so far. Yes, 3
Okay.
days in, and it feels like a whole new year. I haven't had to date anything yet. I haven't written a check, so that'll be the test to see how in 2016 I am.
I haven't dated anything for a while.
Yes, well,
Yeah,
that's what happens.
usually don't call them that, but okay, anything if you wish. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to show you some predictions for Levy 2015 because these characters suggested Levy 2016. They would like you to believe it's citizen originated, but it's not. It's commissioner originated. They got a staff person to look into it. They spent county resources on doing it. Then they talked about a strategy session. All three commissioners talked about a strategy session, when to put it on the ballot, and now they're going to claim that it's an SOS project. It is not. It's a commissioner project. And then I predict that what's going to happen is someone's going to smile in the audience when Keith Heck is saying, "No, we didn't start this," and then, "All right, we're going to throw you out of this room." Just relax. We already know. We've seen the tape. Now, so here's Bill Hunker, who has helped us with a number of statistics and etc. And I'm going to tell you that just a little technical note. This is a gorgeous piece of video. The colors are great. The sound is terrific. It's nice and sharp and clear. I wish that the content is compelling, but I just wish that we could get things to look this good every time. We don't always have control over all of the elements.
Yeah, lighting and audio and stuff like that. Yes,
Even with cars passing by, it sounds really good, and it's a nice picture. So let's let Bill Hunker tell us about Levy 2015. Bill?
I was talking with someone the other day, and we were mentioning the crisis that actually started in 2012 when they let all of the 39 prisoners out of the jail. And I realized that it was 8 deputies that were let go that caused that to start. And I thought, if that was a true crisis that was happening right then and people understood it, why didn't the county commissioners step in at that point and say, those 8 deputies are extremely important to the security of this county. Let's do it across the board cut for wages so that we can keep those deputies. Or let's go find other people that are less important to county safety and maybe let them go because county safety is so important. And that didn't happen. So the crime crisis started.
And that's funny because we've been making this point lately, but that is very interesting. Certainly, how many people work for the county? A couple hundred, 250 or whatever. Certainly, right. They could find somebody. I mean, they could just let go the people that they hired in the last year and a half or something, and add a few people to the sheriff's department. I just.
They could loan them to the sheriff's department. They've done this kind of thing in the past for emergency situations. It's an emergency. They could do that easily.
Yeah, but of course they wouldn't be deputies. And listen, it was after this point here when we discovered, and Daniel told us all how much of a case this becomes when you're hiring new people. As you got to train them for like a year. Well, they had 8 people that they let go who'd already been through all that whole process, and you could have kept any number of those people and probably, and the point to get from all of that is Bill is exactly right. And we are exactly right. There is no crisis here. This is not a real emergency. If it were a real emergency, these people would be acting, or it's either that or it's a real emergency, and these people who are in control aren't adults. One of the two. So take your pick.
You had said something interesting on social media today for the first time, and yes. You were telling people that, listen, if it's an emergency and we really need all this, how come we were spending $600,000 on one piece of software? You mentioned a couple other things. What were they, Mike? Remember?
Boy,
$135,000 on
writing
water testing.
extemporaneously, and yeah, I just water testing. Employees.
Plaques on a rock.
Yeah, they
Plaques on
seem
a
to be able
rock.
to. Oh, yeah, right. The economic development money, when clearly they had the ability to spend that any way they want to. I mean, that's pretty clear. Listen, we really need to cut just that clip of Cheryl Walker and the other two guys having the conversation about how they can spend economic development money any way they damn well please. And just replay that over and over until whenever somebody complains that, oh, you can't take that money and spend it on anything but economic development. Oh, really? Yeah, you can spend it on campaigning if you want to, apparently.
Anytime that they speak in that squeaky little voice, that's
Right.
when we ought to discount what they're saying.
Yes, but really, this is an emergency. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's just
really
a
weird
scam.
part. What are we doing
Yeah.
with each other? Why are we saying this to each other?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of activity on social media. I'm talking about Facebook, of course. And we have this plan and that plan and this plan. And then Mike comes every once in a while and he says, now, wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Don't you ever watch our show? I mean, we've showed you the statistics about this already. No, we need this and this and this and this, but that's more government involvement instead of less. What are you doing?
I just think that, people are addicted to it, and they also they've totally and completely bought into the idea that there's nothing that you can do. That we're stuck in this situation. You have to take the situation that we're in and deal with it. You cannot change the terms of the deal. You can't negotiate with Darth Vader. Okay, that's the perfect analogy, because he'll just turn around and say, "Perhaps you think you're being mistreated." And
Spanish accent.
yeah, I don't know why I went to that, because I can't do Darth Vader. That's why I don't. Anyway. The point is that anytime there's a problem, and this is a problem of perception. They've created this perception of a problem.
They created the perception. That's the amazing part. They're creating it themselves.
Right. But then you have people, and I'm sorry to say this, listen, you have the people who know that this is a ruse. And then you have the people who buy into the idea that there's this big problem, and those people, the only solutions that they can come up with are new taxes. And listen, I understand why that's the case. It's because the empire has sold the program pretty well. Listen, we're the boss. You do what we say, and we say you don't get to have any new money except from that which you extract from your people.
No, there's a better answer to that. We're the boss. We're saying that you government people can't have any more money until you come up with ideas other than property taxes.
Right. And see, but that's what we're saying. But the part that is stuck in their brain that they really are going to have to go, get a lobotomy to remove, is this thing that new taxes. You got to have a sales tax. You got to have a gas tax. You got to have a this tax, of that tax, of this tax. And you know what? Maybe it's a good idea if we all get together and we have chocolate flavored running water in every household. A lot of people will want to move here if we have that. Okay. Maybe so, but listen. There are some artificial things happening here in this county, in this state, and those need to be dealt with. You have to confront that stuff. You can't just throw more money at it, because if you throw more money at it, we're just going to be stuck in this endless loop forever. Well, it's not going to get any better.
The good news is
they want more.
The good news is the citizens, the voters, they always win on this. They've always won.
Yeah.
Since the year 2000. That's now coming up on 16 years here. We always, always, always win. That's the good news. The bad news is these guys are wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy. Look at how much money went into trying to force us to do something we told them we didn't want to do, and they're going to do it again. If they would get serious and seriously stop suggesting what she's smirking about in this picture, and instead pay attention to what our real needs are and listen to the boss, which is the people. If they just do that, we might make some progress. Economic development. We can't do it when you're always wasting our time with this stupid thing where you always lose to the people. And look how angry that she's. The reason she's smirking is because Dan DeYoung, the Grants Pass City Council president, is saying, well, they don't want to do it, but they always got their hand out. This is completely false. And they're convincing each other that it's true.
And let me tell you something, and this is the sad part, and I understand that this may not be totally intentional on the part of some of these people, but some of these people who cannot get tax proposals out of their head, they have to be harboring the same thoughts that Dan DeYoung, that Dennis, is it Dennis Fowler? What is the
Fowler.
Darren Fowler? Darren
Bewitched.
Fowler, and right, yes,
he is bewitched. That's his problem.
yes, and Roy Lindsay, the way that they're thinking, and that is that these stupid people just don't understand that they have to pay more. No, you don't understand that. Listen, I understand that money is like heroin to government. And so what you want to do is you want to reform the junkie by giving him more heroin. And that's not how you do it. I mean, clearly, listen, I would like for government to live within its means. And
like the rest of us have to do.
Right. I understand that to some degree, because government, the nature of government is what it is, there's always going to be some fraud, some waste, some abuse, things like that. But understand that if we don't have control over our own costs, what the cost of government is, labor unions are a big, big problem for us.
Yes.
The cost of labor and the idea that we are slaves to that we don't have any control and we have no say at all in what they charge us. And by the way, you can't fire them because so we're indentured servants is what we are. And that is just totally wrong. That can't even be constitutional somehow.
It's all upside down. It puts them on the top and us on the bottom. Wait, that's not
right.
That's not what the founding fathers had in mind, buddy.
Right, and you get this argument from administration inside government that if you don't pay these people this money, then we won't be able to get the right people. Good, then we'll have to get by on the lower tier level people. Okay. You know what? I mean, the people are telling you that, but you're too stupid to understand it. How does it feel when it's coming back at you? You're too stupid to get it. I mean, we don't want to pay any more money. You know why? Because you're abusive, because you waste, because the true cost of government, we don't even know what the hell it is.
And it gets so bad that you've even got the head of a major church in town that's saying because we won't do as we're instructed, we're like Satan worshipers. What?
Yeah.
Really?
Right. So reassume your role as the slave or the cabana boy or whatever the heck it is you're supposed to do. I just, that's not the kind of government that I want. Now, maybe I'm the guy who's smoking the hookah here. Okay.
No, you're on the winning side. You are on the winning side every time for the past 15 years.
I understand that, but and many people would look at me and go, your idea of ideal government is never ever going to happen, and so we have to do it this way. Well, you know what? Listen, the reason why we're at the place where we're at is because we've been doing it your way for 100 years.
That's right.
So this is why we spend $10,000 per student per year, and we get a crappy product for it. Why is it that we put up with that? How much of that is actually making it to the classroom? That they have huge buildings that are just full of people working in the administration in the public school system, and they're making fat salaries and benefits and whatever, and we put up with that. We let that ride on our back because we're tolerant people. They tell us it's needed and we go, oh sure, it must be. That is the biggest load there is, and we put up with that. And guess what? We put up with so much of it from that we think that just because our local government or county government here has less of that we shouldn't question it at all. Please.
If you want proof of that, just one small proof that comes up all the time from sports enthusiasts is, you remember when we went to school and you got this equipment and this kind of stuff and you could play sports? Now, if you want to play sports in high school, you got to pay for this and this and this and this. Hey, wait a minute. We're spending more money on this than ever before, and now it's all got to come out of the pockets of the parents?
It's worse than that. I remember when I was in grade school, they supplied the paper, the pencils. Whatever you needed, it was supplied there at the school. You didn't have to pay for field trips. Now, all of that stuff is on your dime. You have to go buy your school supplies and bring them in. The school used to provide that stuff. And that was part of the tax money that you're paying. And so now they can't even afford to pay for that.
Speaking of wasting of tax money, we had someone from our own county health department that was telling us just the one small thing that we're throwing away half of the food.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're trying to feed them stuff that they don't want. That's number one. But we're throwing away half of it. That's waste, literally waste.
In an emergency situation, listen, if we were all living in a concentration camp, do you think anybody would tolerate anybody throwing away any piece of food at all? That's how far removed from an emergency we are here. We have the luxury of throwing away half of the food, and we still continue on like it's no big deal.
But part of it is this social engineering thing that happens. I understand eating rutabagas and rice cakes is so much better for you. Got it.
None of the public schools business.
And I'm not interested in that, and neither are the kids. Now, if you've got any grandchildren, children, or whatever, you give them Lunchables, and man, that's what they want. Okay?
Right.
And you may look at that and go, well, that's not my cup of tea. You're not eating it. Okay? Yeah. So if you want them to eat anything at all, you get them some Lunchables. They love that kind of stuff. You serve them some pizza. Even if it's terrible pizza, they're going to love it. So it's not perfect. So feed them perfectly when they're at home or when they come to visit you at your house. And in the meantime, give them stuff they're not going to throw away. This is common sense, is it not?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. So sorry, back to videotape. Okay. We always talk at the end of the show, oh, it takes too long. Well, this is all right. So this piece of tape is really important. This is the key ingredient to all of this. In fact, even SOS and Cuffs and everybody else says it's about trust in what's going to happen with the money. So when Scott Draper, who is head of Cuffs at this time, he's got a question from the audience. They're reading from a piece of paper, and they want to be sure that the money is going to go to the right place. It's the most important question of all. The most important question is not, well, what about the children and what the tire pressure? No, the most important question is, if we give you the money, will it go precisely to the right place and not be skimmed off by commissioners or anybody else and get rerouted to some other kind of thing? And this answer he gives is the core of their problem. Listen to how he states his answer. Mike?
The question is the funds that, if this measure passes, the funds that come to the county, can they be used by anything besides law enforcement services. So who wants to take that one?
Well, again, that's one of the differences of this levy. It is, we specifically asked in our polling, what do the majority of the voters want, and that is what we put on the ballot.
He's
Now,
again,
like I said, we will be passing a resolution to the commissioners that will, with being signed, will say that they will honor that that levy and how the money will be spent, and we have good reason to believe that that will be signed. And I mean, we've got the oversight committee, and that is us. The oversight committee is us to oversee the use of those funds. And I mean, that's.
Anybody else want to elaborate on that?
Wow, that is worse than moments when Obama is off the teleprompter. He's just not very good extemporaneously on this particular topic.
But this is their key topic.
Yeah.
If you're not going to spend the money right, we're not going to give you the money. Why would we do that?
Yeah,
I've used the analogy before of pizza. You go away for the weekend, and you're going to leave a certain amount of money, maybe with the kids that are left behind. Well, they're old enough to take care of themselves. You know what they're going to do on the very first night. They're not going to eat the second night because they're going to have a pizza party with their friends the first night.
Sure,
There's probably going to be beer there too. You don't give them more money and more money and more money. You want to be sure. So what you do is you arrange ahead of time to have the dang pizza delivered, and it's just enough for the kids that are supposed to be there.
Right.
If they want more, bring it with you or something. But you never just keep giving them money, because all they're going to do is they're just going to smirk at you and say, you got your hand out. No. You have your hand out. We're saying, no.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that these people don't understand, how the people who are voting no are thinking. They just don't understand it, and they have complete contempt for it. And they believe that, all these people are just, a bunch of backwoods hicks, and they just don't understand economic development or something like that.
Yeah. Well, play clip number 2 from tape number 2 now, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Hang on just a minute. Okay, here we go.
Now, you probably know that there have been some new statistics and a bar chart that have come out that we've seen and we've been talking about and sharing with people about what the actual crime statistics, according to the FBI, based on our reported numbers from both of your organizations. And what it shows is the opposite of what I thought it was, the opposite of what we've all been told, is that crime is going down in our area.
One thing, I think sometimes we get caught up too much in some of the numbers, and I know numbers are important. Sometimes you have to go with your gut.
What?
In anything you do, whether it be, who you take your car to, or, what kind of groceries you buy, you just go with what feels right sometimes. And I can't get away from the fact that I think many people believe that perception is reality. And when you talk about public safety, I think that's even more relevant. That your perception is reality. And I've heard, daily I hear that funding's not adequate, and then public safety is not adequate, and I don't feel safe. Or I've even heard people say, I got to hold my breath when I drive through Cave Junction going to the coast, that type of thing, because they're afraid or feel uncomfortable. So, and that's the perception that is becoming ever more prevalent, I think, in Josephine County. And I'm hoping that people can start to stand up to that and realize that there is maybe something wrong here. There's something not good.
Yeah,
they're creating the perception. They are creating the perception, Mike.
Yes, fight for the illusion. Don't go with the truth. Don't go with your lying eyes. Yeah,
we're showing him a chart, and he's saying, "Well, you can go with numbers, just numbers, yeah. But really, what is your perception? What's your gut feeling? You're kidding me."
Wow. I just, but I remember that was from January of last year. And that was right before we started doing this thing with Bill Hunker about the numbers and everything. And I'm amazed that is mind boggling, because I haven't seen that in a very long time. And that is just mind boggling.
And then the title I wrote for that was something like, I know we don't have the evidence, Your Honor, but I have a gut feeling that the defendant is guilty.
Oh yeah,
That's not going to be good enough, bud.
Oh, was that from the second? Maybe that was from the second interview, which was later. That's right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Not long after this, because we kept showing these statistics, they were saying, well, the OSP, but we got the numbers from the OSP, and it's not what they were saying. In fact, they even had a press conference. Well, there are myths out there. They're talking about this guy, about Bill Hunker and his myths. And it turns out that these aren't Bill Hunker's numbers. He's not making them up. He's getting them from the OSP that they're quoting. No, something's really wrong here. And the sheriff stopped talking to us. He just wouldn't talk to us anymore. Now, some people are saying, well, that's when you know you're on the right track. That may be the case. But Bill Landis, the chief of police, he didn't stop talking to us.
Right.
Well, okay. Who's got something more to say here?
Okay. Here, hang on just a cotton picking second. I was right in the middle of trying to grab something. So vamp for just a second there, Dale.
Yes. The musical interlude. Let's all go to the lobby.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
After multiple failed attempts, Josephine County residents still haven't given up hope to pass a public safety levy.
I think the citizens truly are tired of what's going on here. I think people are tired of the crime. They're tired of the victimization. They're tired of seeing their friends victimized.
But Scott Draper, a member of the grassroots effort Community United for Safety, says this time it's different because now they hired a polling firm.
If you get together with your friends, you'll come to me and say, this is what we all want. But you don't know what everybody in the community wants. So we all have
sure we do.
And say, everybody wants this. And you'll hear that all over town. Oh, everybody wants this. Everybody wants this.
The polls found
they want emergency response, appropriate emergency response. They want patrols in the county.
This wasn't going to give them that.
To have the jail at a capacity, working at a capacity that will keep criminals that need to be in jail in jail.
The polls also showed people want to reopen the Juvenile Justice Center to shelter and counsel abused children in crisis. Josephine County Sheriff Dave Daniels says he thinks this measure has a chance of passing this time around.
I really see a movement, if you will, in Josephine County for something better, because I think they're tired of the now.
Covering your news, Ariana Rakshani, News 10.
Now keep a long shot on this. Keep it going now. Keep it going. Fade out. Give me a break.
Boy, that's flabbergasting stuff. And you know what? This is very interesting. The Juvenile Justice Center thing. I don't know that people originated that themselves. I think it was a question that they asked. Do you want to open the Juvenile Justice Center? Because right now, let me tell you what's going on with these kids.
Yes,
they're out in the street.
Yes. That's why they spent 30 or 40 minutes with someone on a pole. Would you like this? Okay, thank you. Would you like this? Okay, thank you. No, they're spending 30 to 40 minutes on there proselytizing.
Yeah.
There's people they're supposedly poll. And we know that it was a false poll. Now, how do we know it was a false poll, Mike? They didn't win.
Yeah, right. No, that's true. Yeah, that's the ultimate poll didn't reflect the findings that they got.
Despite the sheriff is saying, well, I think people are tired of not paying higher property taxes. They're tired of opposing higher property taxes. He just wasn't right, was he?
Yeah. I mean, it's this thing. Listen, I don't understand why these guys don't get that. They said no, and that's kind of the way this country works. We say yes, then you get the money. We say no, then you don't get the money. And so obviously, when the problem was put before us, the us said, it's not enough of a problem for us to throw more of our money. Why is that not the right answer for you?
Well, this thing about it being America, that really bothers me. This is how I got in so much trouble with Harry Mackin, because it was the Republican Central Committee. I've heard now from 3 sources on this, Harry. The Republican Central Committee, and they took a vote, and they said, this is what we're going to do about opposing something or being for something. He didn't like the way that vote went. Well, that's too bad. This is America. And so he was involved with some other people and kicking up a huge big fuss about this. Well, we're going to stop doing this. We're going to shut this down. Hey, wait a minute. This is America, and you're right across from the courthouse. It's the Republican Central Committee. It's obviously the largest political organization in our town. Be Americans, suck it up, and say, well, I lost this time. Better luck next time. But they weren't taking that for an answer. No, what the heck? I don't like the way you reported that. Well, that's the truth. Well, there's a better way to say it. No, there isn't.
And, you might think one way or the other about that particular incident, but we witnessed it ourselves in a vote. There's a little teeny minority of the Republican Party that are a bunch of whiners and complainers, and they want everything their way. And when they don't get their way, they drop down on the floor and kick and scream. That's what they do. It's pathetic.
The only way that you win in this is because you cheated. We didn't cheat, people. Nobody understood. Nobody understood the vote. Of course they understood. I'm going to go home. We'll go home.
If you want to be a Democrat so badly, stop trying to convert the Republican Party and just go over and join the Democrats. For crying out loud. I mean, really, come on.
Now, and here's another I think it's a kind of an interesting question. Cheryl Walker used to be a Democrat, right? And then she said, well, now I'm a Republican, right? But every time she gets into any kind of hassle with anybody, including us for asking questions or whatever, she goes running to her Democrat Party friends and have them come over and pack into am I getting this wrong? Right. And they pack into the ambassador. You should always be polite and never question government. Hey, Cheryl Walker, if you're a Republican, why are you hanging with all your Democrat buddies all the time? I think you're a fake Republican. And I think this guy's a fake Republican. And I think Simon Harris is a fake Republican. I'm not a Republican, but this guy is a Republican.
Right. Yeah.
These guys are not.
None of these people are, in the conservative model that I would say are the core of the Republican Party. If at best these people are rhinos, and at worst they're moles. And Cheryl Walker's a mole if she's a Republican at all, because we know that all her friends are the Democratic Party people, and we've seen them come in there. People that have never been to a weekly business session before come in, get up, and say something to support her. They have no idea what happens there. They have never seen a weekly business session, except maybe online or on TV or something. But I doubt even then, quite frankly. And, they don't know what goes on. They don't know what's happening. And yet they feel perfectly qualified to come in and support her. It's like a rent-a-mob, which Democrats often do. They will, show up 50 people in a place and paid protesters. But this is the kind of Republican,
right? Isn't she supposed to be a Republican now?
Well, I don't know.
It's weird.
I don't remember her saying that.
But look, here's the other thing that just doesn't make any sense to me. What's a tax and spend Republican? I'm not a Republican, but I've never seen anything like that in my life. Here in this county, they're tax and spend Republicans. Darren Fowler.
Darren Fowler's a Republican?
Roy Lindsay.
I know that's mind-boggling.
These guys are, and Dan DeYoung.
I don't get it.
What? Okay, I guess they don't have to say what party they are, but why does it seem as if all of the leadership in both the city government, Grants Pass City, Cave Junction, Grants Pass City government, and also in the county, they're all just they drank all the Kool-Aid, and their only tax and spend, guys, this is the only plans. Even this meeting that we've been showing you. Oh, we've got all kinds. You were there, Mike. We've got all kinds of. We've got plans. We've got committees. Why they're going to do this and they're going to do that. None of those have happened. And magically, the only thing that they ever finally suggested every single time is, well, a property tax.
Yeah,
You're not deceiving us.
Well, you know what? When I was there at Cuffs, it became very, very clear that that's the only thing that they were interested in. And it's funny how they always say, well, you never come up with any solutions. Well, you never come up with anything but a tax. How is that any different? You know, you don't think my stuff is a solution. I mean, I was there at Cuffs. We proposed all kinds of stuff.
You mean SOS, right? SOS?
Did I say Cuffs?
Yeah, several times.
I'm in it. I'm in SOS. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had a number of things that were on the burner. None of them ever came to fruition. The only thing that ever got put forward was a tax. And, you know, this is the only answer. And listen, they didn't want any of that other stuff. They just were doing this for the purpose of ultimately coming up with a property tax. And, you know, the rest of it was a ruse to make it look like they were some sort of a grassroots citizens organization. Not at all. But that's, you know, that's the illusion they're pushing.
And is anybody fooled by this? Look, the other thing also that happens is occasionally on social media, Mike and I are accused of not coming up with any other solutions. We're not coming up with any. Do you ever watch our show? We're not coming up with any solutions.
Yeah. Well, no, the solutions that we usually come up with take huevos. And you have to, you know, I mean, it's going to you're going to have to go toe to toe with the federal government, and you're going to have to call them on the fact that they're basically the evil empire here. You guys are the source of our problem. You could fix our problem in a minute, and you wouldn't even notice that we were gone. We're like a fly on your nose. Okay. All you would have to do is stop doing the things that you're doing. Number one, either conform to the contract that is the ONC Act. Okay, you can either do that. Here I am proposing solutions.
I don't hear you. I can't hear you. I don't hear any solutions from you, Mike. None at all.
Or here's an even easier one: get out. Okay, stop meddling in our affairs and release the land that you're holding here to private ownership. Listen, if the federal government sold the land that they hold that isn't state parks and all that kind of stuff, they could probably pay off the national debt with that. I doubt that they would. They'd probably find a lot of stuff to just blow it out of a cannon on, but they probably could do that. And you know, these are simple solutions. I understand that getting them to buy into it is going to be a difficult thing, but that's why you got to have some huevos. Because listen, there is no end. There is no end to if you give a junkie a dime bag of heroin, you're going to be handing him a dime bag every day for the rest of your life, and it's never ever going to change.
Teach that junkie how to fish. Look, I'm going to get pilloried for this idea, and I understand this, but and this would not make our local politicians popular on a state basis or a national basis, but it might make them very popular locally. And what counts anyway, really? Now, for Simon Hare, what counts is what the state's saying, because he wants to work with the state. He doesn't want to work here. This place is too small for Simon Hare. And how is he going to travel all around? Well, he has to do that because he's not going to get his favorite wish. Here's what you do. You use, as we were talking about with that big gathering about taking trees and forests and rivers and putting them in under glass or something. You remember that meeting where all the people showed up? Were they bust in? I don't know. But we said, hey, if that's successful for them, why aren't we doing that? Okay, the people to feel another way. I was one of 3 people that got up and spoke. And this huge audience full of 100+ people, only 3 people spoke. Okay, well, that's another story. Anyway, so let's learn from unions. Learn from unions? Yes, we can. Just shut up. Okay. All right, so here's what we would do. Here's what we'd suggest. This is for domestic consumption right in this county. because they're going to hate this idea everywhere else. What we suggest is
Right.
the counties go out on strike. Okay, it's a figurative strike, you know that it is. But we say, hey, listen, federal government, you're not paying what the contract says, just like the unions say. Federal government, you are breaking your union contract with us. Because we're all one union, the United States, yeah, okay, and you're not doing it.
Right.
So here's what we're going to do. All these counties in Southern Oregon, we're going to go out on strike. We're not going to do anything. We're going to walk a picket line. We're not going to do anything at all. There's not going to be any DA. There's not going to be any sheriff. There's not going to be any of this. There's not going to be any of that. We're shutting down. What are you going to do about it? Pay your bill.
Well, yeah, you know,
Salem will hate that. Portland will hate that. But that's not who it's for. It's for us. It's to let the people know that we're on their side. You can't do that.
Right.
Oh, yes, we can.
Right. Yeah, you can. It's just a choice whether you want to or not. Oh, that would be extreme. That
Well,
would
let's
be,
suggest
you
it.
know-
Oh, you go to sorry, Mike. You go to the O&C committee thing, the one where Simon couldn't get it because he was in jail. You go to that thing and you suggest this, and they're going to look at you like, they won't even say anything. They'll just look at you like this. But you come back and you tell the people, this is what I suggested, and they gave me this look. Okay, but at least the people here will go, yeah, now you're giving it even to the O&C.
Right, of course.
Good.
Right, and the thing is that, listen, don't discount what a group of motivated people can accomplish. A tremendous amount. The thing is that you just don't think that we can get that many people to, you know, be motivated in the same way for the solutions that we're talking about. And I'm saying you're the one selling the tired solution, not me. I think that the entire country is ripe for what we're the kind of solutions that we're talking about. You know, this sort of thing right now doesn't exist in that many places. But if it did, could you imagine how angry this country would be and spring-loaded that they would be to act if finally people got off their duffs and started addressing this situation? You know, I mean,
if we did something like this, just suggesting it would be enough to make everybody in the state nervous. Okay, it certainly would be enough to make the Association of O&C Counties really nervous. Okay, because they were the ones.
Yeah.
They're probably going to keep Simon Hare as their vice president, even though he couldn't make it to their last meeting. They probably will, and you know why he couldn't. So that's who they are.
You know what? If somebody knows something more about that, I'd like to know what the Association of O&C Counties has done for us anytime in the last 20 years. What have they done for us? What is our membership in that association getting for Josephine County? It certainly isn't. You would think that such an organization would be like a union who would then go after the employer that wasn't paying.
That's what I'm saying.
The proper amount of wages and benefits.
Learn from the unions. Look, you remember that video that we showed a while back from the Department of Homeland Security? Why, when there's an active shooter in your area, you hide underneath the table and reach into the drawer and pull out scissors. Scissors, really. Yes. What we need is a howitzer. We need to at least tell them and back it up and saying, hey, maybe we'll go out on strike. This is enough. The governor will send people down here with blue berets. No, we can't allow you to do this. Hey, then get governor. Hey, governor. Send the feds a letter. Why don't you send it, Governor?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you why. Because that's not the inclination of the current governor, and you know, as long as he keep electing far lefties, that is not going to be the inclination of any of them, because they like top-down, big guy, little guy type politics. That's their thing.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm a Donald Trump fan. Okay, I'm not going to say that. But you do know that when he says stuff and it's controversial, everybody's listening to it like, whoa, and look how much he's shaking up the Republican Party by just suggesting these things. Okay, it used to be Rand Paul that was making all those suggestions. Now it's Donald Trump. But still, if we were the Donald Trump county, everybody we're going to suggest, and not stupid things, okay? I'm saying, you know, if we said, hey, let's just take a page from the playbook of the unions. We are a union, aren't we, in this Association of O&C Counties? Hey,
sure, why not?
Let's go out on strike. Oh, but that would be
or
taking serious action.
or let's pool our money and go after the federal government and make it a circus trial, for crying out loud. You know how they have the TV cameras everywhere and making big waves. Listen, the bottom line is to anybody who even does a slight examination of the ONC and what they're obligated to and what's been going on, we're a bunch of chumps. We really are. And we've been just rolling over and taking it for a very long time. And so, I think that most people would probably support going after the feds and saying, hey, listen, you guys need to either make good with your obligation or set us free. Because right now you have us under your boot and our economy is artificially being suppressed, and it wouldn't have to be that way. If we were getting the property taxes paid on those parcels of land and allowing some of them to be developed, which would increase the assessments on those properties and then bring more money into the county, there would be plenty of money to pay for law enforcement. Not that I don't think that there isn't plenty to pay for it now, but there would be even more money for that. And so, the solutions that we get every single time, those are the tired solutions. Those are the solutions that are going nowhere. Those are the solutions that, keep, I hate this term, kicking the can down the road.
See, but your problem is that you're questioning things right from the beginning. And we've already been told that if you question things, then you might as well be a Satan worshiper, okay? And see, one person's innovative thinker is someone else's complete nutcase. And we're complete nutcases because we get up at the weekly business session and we'll ask questions like, how come you're not doing this? Oh, well, why can't you be like the other media that just sit there and reprint our press releases? Because that's not what we do, because we're looking at actually solving the problem. Well, you're creating the problem by asking such questions. As Diane Hoover said, why, the mere fact that you ask these questions makes me pity you. Yeah. Because you're overcharging us?
No.
Well, we were going to play a lot more tape, but then you guys just got us all on another track. And so our show is done. Good night. It's over. Go home. Remember that's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Yes. Good night.